Hey everyone, this is Randy Cruz of the Cruise Control Podcast, and you're now tuning in to the Earnestly Speaking Podcast.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking Podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of fad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heartthrob in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
Earnestly Speaking Podcast here, back on a Monday afternoon here. Of course, find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google+, Spotify. We're all over the place now. Today, I have a very special guest. Now, how special, you say? Well, he's actually one half of the reasons why I'm even existing today. Brought on my dad today on the podcast. My dad, Earl. Earl Christian, my father. Hey, Daddy.
What's up, son?
I can't. I've had this show over 5 years, and this is the first time you've ever been on the show.
Hey, what can I tell you?
I've had.
I want to say save the best for last, but I don't think I'll be the last one. So I'll go back on that.
Well, I've had on. Well, of course, my wife has been on the show quite a few times. My cousin Earl has been on the show quite a few times, actually. Never had my parents on there. It's actually kind of strange. Not my parents.
Hey, first time for everything.
I was just gonna say that too. I wanted to get your thoughts. Because you're a wise man, of course, and I like to get your thoughts on a lot of things, from perspective, and whatnot. You know, tomorrow is the election, so this whole circus chaos, it's finally over. At least we think it's over, unless there's a recount, like 2000, of course. But have you actually enjoyed this process this year, the election process?
It's a lot of entertainment. Did I enjoy the entertainment? Yeah, there were moments. But for the most part, it's a lot of disappointment. Love this country, and to see the divisiveness that's going on, it's me. On one side, the Republicans are saying, Trump in particular is talking about making America great again, and the fact is that for certain people in America, these are the best days. So it's all about perspective to me, really. Mm-hmm. For black folks and brown folks, there's have been a lot of, should we say, since the Voting Rights Act in '65, established middle class, and kids and grandkids are getting educated so they can compete in the workforce in America. So a lot of folks of Caribbean or African American descent and Latinos, right, they're doing pretty good. These are the best days that they've seen in America thus far, and I think it will be. Mm-hmm.
A lot of the complaint there too, that is the fact that you hear from a lot of people that today is the most divisive this country's ever been. Do you agree with that assessment, though? Because I tend to think that's a bit of a bit of a stretch, in my opinion. Are we really that divisive?
In this day and age, as long as I've been in this country, it seems that way. You would think after so much, a lot of improvement have taken place. If you go back to the beginning of the Obama presidency, we came from a very, very, very dark place, and with his guidance and leadership, we were able to get to a point where people are more optimistic once more. But I think with that, with the Obama presidency, it created or brought out a side of America that we thought was less prevalent as it turned out to be. But again, we have to be optimistic. Given time and with the right people in power, hopefully it'll get better and not worse.
Right. What do you think is Donald Trump's appeal? I mean, I know he's very polarizing. to many folks, both on both sides. But I've always said that there is an appeal to Donald Trump that, I've always, viewed Trump as the reason why he has a lot of appeal to at least his base is because he is an example of the frustration of maybe America today, I guess. What do you think is the appeal to him right now?
Well, I think let's give the guy credit. He saw an opportunity and he ran with it. He's in the entertainment. Give him credit for being a business person. And yes, good business people also have failures as well. So I'm not holding that part of
right.
Against him. But he's a New Yorker. He has that New York swag about him. He has that likability. He does. To me, he has a level of charisma. He's a known brand. He's been branding before branding became hip.
Right.
So, there is pluses to him. But I think with the opportunist type of mentality, the fight that he's fighting is a very divisive fight that can only divide the country. The people, when he can make statements that he likes dumb white people, to me that's insulting to a lot of white people. When he says he talk about black people, and by the way, those dumb white people, in the context of those are his main supporters, as he said it at the time.
Right.
I'm not talking about the Republican establishment. When he talk about the Mexicans with rapists and drug dealers and murderers, talk about black folks, it's so insulting when he said you can do better, or I'm trying to remember the statement that he made. What do you have to lose? That was like a slap in the face. And he forgot that there's so many black folks who are doing pretty good in America, as I said before. I think he's what bugs me more than anything else, is someone who loves equality and look at the human race as just that one race. When you create that type of racism, it's just not good for us, our generation, or the generations to come. So I certainly hope tomorrow that people go out and vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm with her.
Yeah. That's actually a great segue because I wanted to ask you about Hillary Clinton real quick. As you know, I've had pushback on Hillary Clinton for years. I told you that you and I have discussed about that in the past. I did endorse her on this podcast 2 weeks ago, though. I'm going to vote for her, obviously. But let me ask you a question, just off the cuff. What is the big deal about this email thing? Why is that such a big topic now as we head to this last day of the election?
Well, why is it a big deal now? It's been a big deal.
Well, why is it still a big deal now? I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that, okay.
Look.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be quite honest with you, because at the end of the day, if you're looking at the Trump inquiries as opposed to Hillary, and yes, okay, if she did use unauthorized server, yes, there is a level of risk, but look, I don't see her as one of those irresponsible people. Did she make a mistake? Yeah, big deal. That's how we learn from our mistakes. If you look at her career, she's been a fighter for children rights, women rights, and not only domestic but worldwide. I'll be honest with you. I believe Hillary Clinton will be the best president that the United States have ever seen.
Really?
Have ever seen. I really do. Her resume, she's more prepared than anybody else in the history.
Well, that is true. I always say that. If you strip away all the controversies and the scandals on either side, by far, you can argue Hillary Clinton is actually overqualified for the job, really, to be honest with you.
That's what President Obama said a long time ago, and it's true. It's true. First of all, she was the first lady of Arkansas, and not only just a normal first lady, she was a working first lady.
Right.
And champion for human rights, children's rights more so at the time. A senator and Secretary of State and everything in between. And you have to look at the people that have respect for this woman. Okay. The the generals, the armed services, so many Republicans, present and past. Yes, you may say that's part of the establishment, but, you know, in times like these, we need stability. And I think she brings that to the table more than, you know, the other candidate. We need that. And hopefully we'll get, us going forward, the vetting process will be much better where we have candidates that people are proud to vote for and not really voting for the best, or should we say, as they put it, so many people put it, the best of two evils, which I don't see her as that.
Right. What's your prediction? Because, like, we've seen, I mean, I don't know if you put a lot of stock in polls. I do, to a point, because I do follow polls. I've told you many times over that I've been following polls for the last 5 cycles, and a lot of times those polls are pretty much within the margin of error of where the final result is. I follow specific polls. I don't follow, like, CNN poll. I follow, like, you know, Politico and, you know, PPP and all that stuff. And you've seen polls recently kind of trend a little more Trump's way. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to win the election, but it means that the race, from the perspective of what's been polled out here the last couple of weeks, it seems to be trending more towards tighter race. What's your prediction in terms of the election?
Well, again, Hillary Clinton. But when we look at when the FBI report came at the reopening of the case, you know, that was such a divisive move that it sort of swayed not only the Republicans, well, not swayed the Republicans. It was "I told you so" from the Republicans, and it sort of swayed some of, well, definitely independents, and some Democrats as well, as to, oh my, when will this stop? You know what I mean? Although she wasn't directly linked to it. But yes, it had an impact, a serious impact in that 7-day window. And then, you know, on Sunday, yesterday, he balances everything by saying that she's no longer implicated in this new search. So would that help in the day or two? I think that was just to get himself out of hot water after the election is gone, is finished. But no, the whole email thing was, the last one with Anthony Weiner certainly didn't help her position at all.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I honestly believe that's when it started. Well, not me alone. It's obvious that it started trending towards his way at that time. And I still don't know why. If you add up all the plus and the negatives, this guy, and you had a scale, you know, you would weigh Hillary Clinton, weigh her down. She only had one issue per se,
right,
presently, which is a Benghazi email issue. And my guy here have Trump University, a rape case of a 13-year-old alleged.
Bankruptcies.
Exactly. You know, there's so many things, and that's not all. I honestly believe that someone like him should not be in politics. And we haven't heard the rest of it yet. He shouldn't expose himself like that.
I think that
power is very...
I think the most disappointing thing about his campaign, about both these, well, this is cycle as a whole. I think, you know, being raised what, you know, we were raised in an era where, you know, when we voted based on the issues, we voted based on policies and whatnot. That is not the case today in this election. Like obviously, well, in Hillary's case, she's pretty much going to continue what Obama started the last 8 years. Yeah. I don't know what Donald Trump stands on right now in terms of policy. I just don't.
I don't think Donald Trump knows what he stands on right now.
And that's the thing. I keep telling people who support Trump. And by the way, I'm an independent voter. You know, I'm an MPA, so I can go either way depending on the issues. And I'm asking Trump voters genuinely, listen, give me a reason to vote for this guy. Don't tell me because Hillary this. I want to hear about Hillary. I know about Hillary already. You tell me on the goods that Donald Trump wants to sell to me. And I can't get anything consistent.
No, you won't get any. You won't get any. I mean, he have never really stated his position on any particular thing. He just little innuendos and you know, he never really go into detail about any one thing. Boy, we're heading down the wrong place if we elect that guy president.
All right. You think Hillary will still win tomorrow, right?
I definitely think she'll win. Definitely.
You think it'll be very decisive? Or you think it'll be closer than we all thought?
I think it would be more bigger margin of victory than we think right now, than the polls are showing right now.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay. I know you.
One of the things you have to know, there's two things I want to
Go ahead.
mention. The first thing is this thing about there's a lot of males, men, 55 and up, who have a problem with a woman being president. And I mean, to me, that's a shame, but I think that has something to do with it. Sexism has a big part of to go back to the question that you asked before. Why not Hillary? And being a woman has something to do with it as well. And I hope that women really come out tomorrow in numbers, and support her. I really do.
We'll see. Well, definitely. I'm voting tomorrow, so I have an election day date with my wife, so it's going to be a good day for us. I know you're obviously a big Obama guy. You're probably the biggest one in the entire family. What are your final thoughts on Obama?
We have a bunch.
You're by far, like, you, of everybody in this whole entire family, you are the biggest Obama, cheerleader.
I called it after Iowa in 2007.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on him? Your closing thoughts on him as he leaves office in 2 months?
I was thinking last week, wouldn't it be great if he becomes a Supreme Court justice?
Wow.
he would have that impact for as long as he lives. Mm-hmm. That's my thought. I would love to see something.
I don't think we're done with him either in terms of.
Oh no,
influence.
he's just starting. You kidding me? Come on. He's just starting.
Yeah.
Let his hair down, so to speak.
If Michelle allows him, Michelle doesn't like. Look, Michelle's campaigned for Hillary, and I know for a fact that she hates campaigning. So the fact that she's campaigning heavily for Hillary tells you something how much she deeply wants her to win this election.
Yeah, she does it well, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. She hates it though. Say that. But yeah, obviously you think the 8 years was a success. Obviously, you're gonna miss the guy, I'm sure, right?
Oh man, let me tell you. But there's a lot of pluses to it. There's a lot of kids who are, let's say, 12 years old, even hitting 16, who have lived half of their life or most of their lives with someone other than a white male as the president. So I think going forward, that image in their head, my grandkids, Eli and Connor, Caden, and Elijah, and Callie,
mm-hmm.
Their image, when they look at the head of this country, the head of the world, the free world,
mm-hmm.
they're seeing someone that is similar to them. I think in future going forward, that plays a big part of the American psyche. Anyone can rise to a prominence, because this is the greatest country in the world. And there's opportunities for those who seek it, who's persistent, would pay off. And patience and persistence is the two of the keys. And of course, you have to be disciplined.
Right.
But yes, you can do whatever you want in this country.
Right. All right. Let's talk about something else that always dominates our conversations every time we talk on the phone. Basketball. You're not in basketball nut jobs, to say the least. Have you watched any of the season this year so far?
Very little, but I'm not watching it with any level of optimism. As optimistic a person as I am, I'm looking at this as a rebuilding year.
It's about the Heat. The Heat, you mean?
Yeah, we're talking about the Heat. Yeah.
I don't know. Listeners don't know that. The listeners I don't think know that you're a Heat fan. That's why.
Oh, okay. I'm like you. I'm a diehard Heat fan.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the free agent market next year. I really don't. And I hope I'm wrong. I don't see us making the playoffs. I look at the roster, and we just don't have it so far. I'm hoping that one or two guys like Waiters or Williams, who were very high draft choices, I think in 11 and 12, can live up to their potential. So what you have on the Heat this year is opportunities for guys to rise to the occasion. And I hope we do see that so we can add that to the draft and the free agency market next year.
Right. I think actually a lot of these guys on this roster are really trade assets. Like I think I don't think Dion Waiters stays the entire year. I think he will be a guy that if he starts playing well, that Riley will put on the market by February, and he'll go to a contender. And the Heat will probably acquire a draft pick through Dion Waiters. I see a guy like him or a guy like Williams actually being a trade asset.
And great, we do have a lot of trade assets right now, more than in previous years, to be honest. Not including the top three, but the big three, I should say. But no, we have a lot of pieces. Even Tyler Johnson, who I think is an effort player. I love the guy.
Playing great.
Yeah, he's playing great, and he's also a trade asset. Let's face it. So right now, I think just about anyone, including Whiteside, could be moved.
Yeah,
and should be moved.
I think everybody is active. Whiteside, of course, and Dragic too. Now here's my thing too. I just love Dragic. I actually love Dragic, to be honest with you. Everybody wants him gone. I love Dragic.
I mean, he's a good point guard. I mean, but look, as I said, let the parts keep moving until we get the right fit.
Well, this is what I see happening, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just speculating here. I like to speculate on a lot of things. Like I think what's going to happen, and this is where Riley is the best. Really, he's the best at getting pissed off superstars to commit to him. So I have a graph of 3 players in the NBA who I think are going to be disgruntled, who either are disgruntled already or will be disgruntled next year, a year or two. Obviously, Boogie Cousins in Sacramento is one guy. That's obvious. He's always pissed off. So it doesn't matter. But I think John Wall in Washington, and even bigger than that, I think Anthony Davis in the next 2 years. One, if not both these guys are going to if their situations don't improve between now and then, I really believe that they're going to demand trades out of their respective teams. And I think that's where Riley jumps in and tries to, clamp in and get those guys. I think Anthony Davis has a good chance to come to Miami in the next couple of years.
We can get him. I'll be very happy.
And we have the assets for it too.
When we're talking about New Orleans, and it took me back to when we got Zoe from Charlotte. Yeah. And Hathaway from Golden State.
And Shaq too. Even Shaq in 04. Disgruntled in LA. Well, come on.
Yeah, Riley made a lot of good moves. Of late, I haven't seen many. Remember, you have to give Wade credit for bringing together the other two guys, LeBron and Bosh. But Riley needs to give us some more magic. He haven't been doing that of late, so we need to see him be the Godfather as we think he is.
Well, we'll see. I think all this roster is set up for the future. Believe me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though. You know which team is you know what team's been the most interesting team in the league so far through 2 weeks? It's not the Warriors, it's not the Cavs, the Lakers. The Lakers have been the most interesting team to watch these first 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah. I mean, are they going to make the playoffs? Probably not.
Probably not. But it's 4-3.
I haven't seen any of their games. I just saw highlights, and I like what I see. Mm-hmm. They look like an exciting young team.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So I hope the best. I mean, there's a damn good basketball market. So who's ever on that roster, they better play hard.
Yeah, I think, and people are saying, what are they doing paying Luol Deng this money and paying, Mozgov this money. But look, I like the mix of young and youth on that team, youth and vets on that team. Like, Luol Deng's a great guy to have it's for locker room purposes and, whatnot. I'm mad we lost him I'm mad we lost him this past summer. So, go ahead.
We couldn't afford him.
Of course not. Yeah. But I like the little mix. Like I said, I think this team, the Lakers, will be better sooner rather than later.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, if they can improve this year, I think they would attract free agent market, the free agency to LA once more. If they can improve this year, the nucleus of that team come together, and maybe two pieces away, they can attract really good free agents.
I hate to say that, getting rid of Kobe Bryant and getting past that, not getting rid of him, but getting past the Kobe Bryant phase of this franchise now has done a great deal for these players. It really has. You can see it. They're playing more freely now. I'm not saying Kobe was a problem, but at the point of his career he was at now, at that point versus now, I mean, it's a two different things that we've seen.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because there's a two sides to the coin on that. Kobe has done so much for the Lakers over the years that it was important that they take care of him, because he took care of them. As far as him right now, they had one bad year, one transitional year, I should say, or maybe two, but he was injured the year before that. But let's look at last year as a transitional year, and they owe him that. He had his farewell round, as he ought to. He's been that type of player, not only for the Lakers but for the NBA. But it gave the younger players now time to develop, and now with the addition of, I think they have a first-rate coach in Walton, and the free agency assets, and in addition to a couple of pieces of this kid from Texas, the forward who was injured the first year. What's his name again?
Is it Randall?
Yeah. Randall.
Yeah.
Heck of a player. I used to watch him in college.
It's Kentucky. He was Kentucky, actually.
Kentucky, right. He's still healthy. He's going to have serious impact.
Yes.
On that team. Mm-hmm.
Well, they spanked Golden State on Friday. I don't know if you saw that. They killed Golden State on Friday.
Yeah. And, of course, Larry Nance Jr.
Yes.
Like father, son. Yeah.
Hey, that's good genes like his daddy.
Yeah. Highlight reel.
Let me ask you this though, because you mentioned Kobe and being taking care of Kobe. Were you mad that the Heat did what they did with Wade? Were you okay with that?
Yeah, look, I'm just getting used to and watching him with the Bulls uniform. My view is he's going to retire here in Miami. I hope I'm right. Yeah, of course, that's. Probably my favorite basketball player of all time. I mean, yes, it's in recent time, but, he grew up with us. He's like a son to me. Yeah, I've always called him my son from year one. And, I took to him. I understand the business part of it. He certainly isn't playing like he's in declining motion, but he's 34. He's going to be 35 this year. His best days ahead are behind him. Would you pay someone like that $25 million a year? But then again, you can refer back to what the Lakers did to Kobe.
Right.
They paid him.
Right.
Bottom line is, I think they should have paid him.
The problem wasn't the 1 year. They were willing to pay 1 year. Even 2 years, but I think the issue between Riley and Wade was the third year. Wade won't be this guy in 3 years.
Definitely not, but I think he could have taken a smaller contract or, opted out or, renegotiated after the second year.
He didn't want that. And that's
I realized that. Yeah.
And that's what it brings.
Because he thought, but remember, this guy have brought so much to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the 5 years that LeBron and Bosh and Wade got together, I used to tell you guys, this is the best that it gets. Don't take it for granted. You don't see a at least in my time, I've seen a team that dominated year after year after year, 4 years in a row in the finals. Was it 5 in the finals?
Mm-hmm.
That's unheard of. That go back to the Celtic days of the 60s and stuff like that. It's part of the 70s, early 70s. But
I agree.
We had a phenomenal run.
I know as you talk, I can hear in your voice as you talk about it. It depresses you a little bit. I can tell that it depresses you a little bit now that those days are over.
Well, we're hoping that we have a ownership here that love to win. and it's contagious. So hopefully we won't have too much of a long period. I'm hoping that we have a system similar to that of San Antonio and Golden State, where you can just fill in the blanks, you know.
Right.
I'm hoping that's the case, to stay competitive for years upon years, you know, generation at a time. Yeah, let's face it. Right now, with David Robinson and Tim Duncan,
right.
From that period to present, they've been competitive more or less every year. And if I'm not mistaken, we're closing in on 20 years.
Well, if we talk about Popovich, like you're looking at about 20 years already. If you want to go even further, even before Duncan got there, you're looking at about, honestly, minus one bad year in '96 when they got Duncan, because that's how they got Duncan in the first place. Though minus the 1 year there, you're looking at about almost 30 years of consistency from the Spurs.
And a small market team.
Yeah.
You know, so what's the formula there? And I hope Miami
stability.
Follow that formula. Yeah.
Stability. I want to end this podcast with this one hot take here before we go. I think the Cavs going to repeat.
I hope they do.
And Dad, this is going to sound really weird. And I know a lot of Heat fans listen to this podcast that get pissed at me for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. It is so much easier now to root for LeBron, especially now with the Heat not being in that echelon anymore.
Look, I'm just thankful he came down here and gave us some really good basketball. That's all I'm saying.
We're not worthy.
It was fun.
We're not worthy.
Huh?
We're not worthy. It's not worthy.
No, we were worthy for 5 years. We enjoyed it. Whatever time, but we enjoyed it. He gave us basketball at his best. He put Miami on the map in such a way where we are now compared to LA and Boston and to San Antonio. If you look at the last 10 years, how many teams can say that they won 3 world championships?
Yeah.
That's not a bad record.
I always tell Heat fans that they get mad. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
And 5 finals.
4 finals, 2 championships. Yeah, I mean, that's
4
what it is.
finals, right? That's right. Mm-hmm. 4 finals and 2 championships.
Yep. I always tell Heat fans.
I'm going back even back to Alonzo Mourning era when Wade was a second year guy.
06, yeah. 06, right.
06, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always tell Heat fans this all the time, Dad. I always say, if you're really, really, really mad about LeBron leaving, you're mad not because he left. You're mad that he took away your feel good. That's why you're mad. Because
you're absolutely right.
If Mario Chalmers left, you don't care. You're not pissed about it. You're not pissed about Birdman leaving. LeBron leaves. Oh, you took away our feel good. That's why you're mad.
Right. Exactly.
I don't feel good anymore. You used to feel good. Now it's like a breakup. It's like an old girlfriend. Like, oh,
yeah. Hold a second. Let me just.
We're done anyway, Dad. We're done anyway. So.
Okay, so
that's on the podcast. Soon. Appreciate it, Daddy.
Let me know how it went.
Love you.
To go.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
All right, bye.
Love you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.